Hi everyone, I'm Jamie from Say What Now, and I'm doing a review of Battlefleet Gothic Armada. Battlefleet Gothic is a new real-time strategy game made by Tinkerless Interactive, based on the tabletop board game made by Games Workshop set in the Warhammer 40k universe. Battlefleet is about massive fleets of these ginormous, several kilometre long ships doing battle in space. I've always loved the idea because the ships are just awesome. If you've seen any of the screenshots from the game or any of the pictures of the ships from the tabletop game, like the Imperial ships specifically are like 10-kilometre long fucking cathedrals of guns. It's amazing. I've always loved the scale of it. The game itself is very similar to the tabletop in many ways. In the way that the game is set out, you start off by giving your mission type with the objective it has and a points value. You then pick your fleet within the points limits you're allowed, deploy it on the battlefield, and then start the mission. However, the tabletop game was very slow-paced, maneuvering, taking turns. They'd end up taking like an hour or two, as most tabletop games do, whereas the RTS is very much faster, with a lot of the missions even having time limits. So I've not seen a mission last for 10 minutes yet. I would rather if the game was a little bit slower paced with more time to think about what you're doing, rather than a lot of the mission types are very manic, and those aren't my favourite kinds of missions, but otherwise the game is very fun. Battlefleet Gothic features a full pre-developed campaign. It's got a skirmish mode to play against AI and a multiplayer mode which allows you to level up much like you in a campaign while playing online with friends or random people. The campaign itself I find very interesting. It's got a decent story in it based on the 12th Black Crusade, which is the same source material the tabletop game used. The metagame is broken up into turns. During each turn you'll have a certain number of deployments, which depends on your level. Deployments are a mission you can pick. So you're given several maps of different planets which will have different missions going on, which have different mission types, different enemies. Often there'll be a priority mission, which is a story-based mission that must be completed to progress to the next turn. But apart from that, you get free reign of picking which missions you want to do, so you can pick mission types that you prefer and have more success with, or pick certain enemies that need to be defeated more urgently. The campaign is done from the perspective of the Imperium. You play a recently promoted Imperial Admiral, slowly progressing your fleet, growing in size and defeating bigger and bigger threats. As you go through, you level up yourself, which unlocks bigger and better equipment. Your ship captains as well level up, which allows the ships to gain new skills, improve their crew in different areas to make them less likely to flee, have better shots, do better in boarding actions, etc., etc. You can upgrade their shields or their armor, maneuverability, give them new weapons, stuff like that. There's quite a wide range of ships to select from when you decide your fleet. The ships are broken into two types, which is line ships and escorts. You have to have a line ship, and the first one you pick will be your admiral ship. They come in the sizes of light cruiser, battle cruiser, and battleship, obviously going from smaller to larger, with the larger ones tending to be more tanky but slower, the smaller ones being more nimble but lacking in the firepower. As well as that, you have escort ships, which are small frigates and destroyers. They tend to be much cheaper than the line ships, and also their deaths are completely inconsequential. As you go through the campaign, if your ships get destroyed, they have to go through intense repairs, which means they're out of action for several turns, whereas your escorts, you buy them for that mission. If they die, no one gives a fuck, you just buy a new set. Next mission, it's great. The gameplay itself involves, as I said, buying the ships, place them on the battlefield. Then you start maneuvering around. You have different weapons and different things. You can have massive broadside cannons along the side of your ships, which do much more damage at close range and much worse damage at longer range. You have forward-facing lance weapons, which do damage regardless. They're just energy laser beams shooting across the distance. You have torpedoes. You have ships, fighters to defend against torpedoes and bombers. You have bombers. And boarding craft, which can be used to create boarding actions against enemy ships. You can teleport onto enemy ships if their shields are down and attack critical components from the inside. So yeah, there's a wide variety of weapons to learn about and use the ones that you like using. If you like pulling up close alongside your enemy ship and doing a broadside and a whole bunch of boarding actions, you can build the ships with that. If you prefer to be sitting long distance firing lance weapons and torpedoes at them, there are ships for that. Build it the way you want it to be. You can also set ship behaviours, which can indicate whether it's trying to pull alongside to fire its broadsides, or it wants to be firing forward-facing weaponry. You can even tell it to favour the left or right side. If you've, for instance, you can receive damage so that all the weapons in the right side of your ship can be destroyed, so you can tell the ship to focus on getting its left side facing the enemy. You can also set the range it tries to engage enemy ships from 3, 6, 9, 12 kilometers, which depends on the range of the weapons you're using. Or if you have, for instance, a carrier launching bombers, you might want it 12k, so it's staying as out of the fight as possible and doing a more support role. There are several game modes that currently exist. They all feature in the campaign and can also be used in the random selection in multiplayer or when you set up your own custom games. You have Cruiser Clash, which is just a straight out shoot 'em up between two sets of ships. Data recovery, which involves using a boarding action or a teleport action to steal data from an enemy ship and leave the battlefield by warping out. However, they can steal it back from you while you're trying to warp. There's a 3-minute timer before the first time you can warp. Not a massive fan of that game type, because it tends to be hide in the corner of the board and hope you can get away before the enemies reach you. There's Assassinate, which is eliminate an enemy target ship before it warps out. Breakthrough, which is destroy a couple defense platforms that are in the middle of the map, or defend them depending which side you're on. Convoy, which is one side protecting a set of transport ships as they go from one side of the board to the other. Planetary Bombardment, which involves getting a line ship to reach certain random points on the battlefield at certain times to drop bombs on the planet below. Space Station Assault, which is roughly what it sounds like. They're all quite varied, they create interesting different playstyles. As I said, there's certain modes I prefer because I don't like the time limit ones because it doesn't feel very Battlefleety. There are currently 4 different races to play, each with a very distinct aesthetic and playstyle. First is the Imperial Navy, which is the ships you play the campaign through. They tend to have much more armor on the front of the ships than down the sides or the back because they're used to driving into enemy fire to get close to unleash devastating broadsides. They have easy access to torpedoes. Then there's Chaos, which are very similar to Imperial, but they tend to be slightly faster, slightly less armoured, and favour long-ranged lance warfare than close-up broadsides. You have the Orcs, which are just a mishmash of scrap pushed together, and rather than having distinct classes of ships, you just pick Cruiser and then customise it, giving it different upgrades to how you want it to play. Rather than Imperial and Chaos, which have a boost function, which is a slow burn that gives them a speed boost or can give them rapid turns that slowly recharges over time, Orcs have a big red button which gives them a very sudden boost that has to burn all the way through, which aids in the Orcs' preferred tactics of very close range but inaccurate fire, ramming and boarding actions, which they have a huge bonus for. The final race is Elder, which are probably the most distinct in both appearance and playstyle. Rather than having shields, they have hollow fields, which protect them by the faster they move, the more it disrupts enemy fire. Their ships are the fastest in the game, they're also have the lightest armor, and tend to focus very heavily on close range but very powerful forward-facing lasers. And their special maneuver is solar sails, which gives them a massive but very short-term speed boost. So they're a very mobile fleet. They don't want to get stuck in a firefight because they'll get destroyed. I have to say I am really enjoying the campaign so far. I love the fact that you can pick which missions you do, and a loss doesn't end the game for you. You just earn less renown, less experience for it, so you get less upgrades to your ships. Obviously your ships get damaged and need to be repaired, but even losing priority missions, the campaign still continues. You just suffer major downsides because of it. I imagine at some point in the campaign, losing the major missions will actually lose you the game. But at the moment, winning just gives you a bonus and helps you improve on your situation, and losing makes the situation worse and worse, which feels more fitting with the theme that you're defeating an invasion. One battle isn't going to win or lose the war for you. I'm really enjoying the experience system for the ships of all 4 races, and the upgrades you can get. I mean, you can really define the fleet how you want your fleet to play. The 4 races are so very distinct in the way you play, it makes it very fun and different whenever you play all the different games. My only real complaint about the game so far is there's still a number of bugs which need fixing. There's no 1v1 multiplayer against friends. You can only do 1v1 multiplayer against randoms, which is a little bit annoying, but apparently it is being patched in later. And I'm still not a fan of the timed missions because, like I said, I grew up with the tabletop version, which is a very slow, methodical, almost like chess, that you're planning every move before you get there and working out how everything's going to be. Whereas when you give them 3 minutes to cross the battlefield and steal data off an enemy ship and try and flee, it's very manic and you don't get to look after your ships the way you want to. You can end up losing a lot of ships just because you forget about them because you're completely focused on your lead ship chasing down the enemy to steal the data from them. So yeah, I do highly recommend the game, and if you get it, please give me a shout because I want more people to play against online. Bye.